All right, welcome back everybody to another Leverage Podcast episode. I'm really excited about the today's guest. I actually got to meet him in Wichita, Kansas, so about a month ago maybe. His presentation and his facts of the matter and what he does, he's about to explain, is going to blow you away. One of the more competent, smart business owners that I've met in a while. So, David Sasson, welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about what you do and how you make money.
Okay. Well, it's David. It's David Sasson.
Yep.
Um, and I am now a business coach with Action Coach, and I help entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses. Our focus is looking at the entire operation so that we are not just growing top line, but we're growing the entire business, including the profit side, which is typically critical for the owners.
Mhm.
Um, and we're helping them systemize the business so that they can scale and without them working more and then build an asset, not just a job that they can go to, but an actual asset that could be sold down the road
Yeah.
if they so chose.
Nah, I love that. So tell me, how do you because here's what I see with a lot of business owners, right? And I know you've experienced that through the coaching, right? Is they build, and those handful that do get successful, however they define that, right? What I find is sometimes they didn't build it to one, either be an asset that's sellable, right? So number
Mhm.
one, they didn't build something sellable, and number two, sometimes they regret what success looks like, right? They paid too heavy of a price. They had to grind. They had to work a lot of hours. Maybe their family is in flummox, and
Yeah.
they just put so much time and energy into the business. So how are you coaching people around finding that balance, right, of success while not at the sacrifice of your family, of running to addiction, things like that?
Yeah, I think that's an awesome question. So part of what we do is helping them, one, systemize the business. So if I want to, I'll start with a story from my own life.
Yes, please.
So I was working, building company and growing. I hired a bookkeeper. She was doing okay, not phenomenal. And I was doing a lot of the things that I wanted her to do, but I was just afraid to delegate. And I was sitting one day and I needed to send a payment to a vendor. I was working with studios overseas. The vendor was going to a studio in China, and I messed up, sent the money to the wrong person. It wasn't even a studio; it was just the wrong person. The payment was going through PayPal, and I ended up being able to salvage it, and it didn't go anywhere. But I'm like, okay, I messed up pretty bad. She might mess up pretty bad too, but at least that way I'm not sitting here at 7 o'clock in the evening doing that, and the result probably would be the same. So I just started delegating to her, training her. I ended up replacing her. She was not the right person. The point here is we have to learn how to delegate. We have to learn how to trust our team. We have to also build the right team. In order to be able to delegate, you have to build systems. You have to document what you're doing so that it's easy or easier, anyways. And so that's part of what we're doing, which frees time to the owner as they grow their business, that they are able to do other things. We also encourage them to have personal goals, not just business goals. So one of the entrepreneurs, I started working with him just about 3-4 months ago, and just last call we had, he's like, I got a personal goal. I'm going to run a half marathon. He gave me the date. I can't remember. So he's starting to train for that. As his business is doubling, is on pace to double this year.
Nice.
And he's at the same time training for a half marathon because he's got systems in place, got all that stuff I mentioned before. So those are the kind of things we do.
I love that. And I wish I had that when I was growing my real estate business. I had a lot of real estate coaches, but necessarily not business owners. Or
Yeah.
they were business owners, but not the way you would foundationally build a business, right? It was a sales coaching more than it
Yeah.
was a how to
Yeah.
build a strong business for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure you see that a lot, right? Because a lot of business owners are like revenue, 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 sales, sales,
100%.
sales, sales. I can always
100%.
outsell my mistakes. I can always outsell my slowdowns. And while there is some value to that revenue base, eventually what I see a lot of sales mindset is, hey, I'm selling a lot on the front end and it's all going out the back door, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
not paying attention to expenses. I'm not hiring leverage, whatever the case may be, right? Is they just think more money in, solves the problem. And that
Yeah.
doesn't always solve the problem. So maybe talk me through that a little bit is like, I need the sales and the revenue on the front end, but I got to figure out how to stabilize and balance, right, my P&L and other things like that on the back end. So I'm not just having to sell one more thing, one more thing, one more thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the question. So a lot of what we see, we typically don't work with a guy that just started out. They
Yeah.
can't afford the service, and the service won't pay for itself at that point.
Right.
But once they got some scales, that's when they come to us. They have some pain points, right? There's something they're unhappy about, and so we help them. And what happens is the guys that made it past that like initial stage,
Mm-hmm.
they have a propensity for action. That's why they're there. So they got they got up one day, they were working for somebody else, and they figured they could do something better, their industry or a different industry, whatever. And they took that idea and they implemented it, meaning they acted, they did it, and then they did some more and they did some more, and it grew and they did some more, and now they're getting to a place where like there's so much they can't necessarily outsell their mistakes. They can't do some of these things,
Yeah.
or maybe they can still do that, but they're not going to see their son's football game or these types of things. And so one thing that we teach them is to sometimes slow down and plan as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to just act. So a lot of times, and you see it with clients you're starting with, it's like we're talking about something and we think about I just had a client this morning and we were talking about he started growing his business and now he kind of hit the first group that he had, people that are close to him. Now he needs to bring some new prospects. So as we're talking to some ideas, like, oh, that would work good. And I could see him, he's trying to get up from his chair, and I'm like, well, hang on a second. Let's finish this before you go. And that propensity for action, while it's good to get you started, it's kind of like this, what got you here won't get you there.
Yeah.
We have to teach them, not just teach, because these are all smart people. Not just teach, but train them to be a little patient, take the time to plan, take the time to figure out what should be my goals for the quarter, what should be my goals for the year, how do I measure those goals, how do I get them, first time that they plan, you see who's in charge of goal 1, me, goal 2, me, all the goals are there. I'm like, well, don't you have a team? Yeah, what are they going to do? So,
delegation and ownership of that's one thing I love about it. Just side note is like we follow the entrepreneurial operating system here, right, with the company that we're at. So it's a lot of EOS, right? And it's very much that, right? It's like you got your rocks and then all your executives got rocks that come off of your rocks as the founder, right? So everybody's lockstep marching to the same drum beat, which ultimately
100%.
is the 5 rocks of the company, which is dictated by the founder, right?
100%.
But the founder doesn't own 32 rocks. They're spread out across everybody else that march towards a north compass point. So I love that concept for sure. What's one thing that you think you do today that most people in the industry are not doing?
So first of all, I actually implemented EOS in my companies too. So
Love it.
I've used the EOS system, and we have a system that's similar. It's not identical, but it's similar. And there's a few like that. They're all good. And some people tell me I use EOS. Should I change? I'm like, if it's working, because there's nothing wrong with that. I think that something that happens is the Action Coach system has been built and proven over 30 some years in 80 different countries by over 1,000 coaches. And our systems have just been tested and are tried and true, and they're industry agnostic. And, because everybody's got clients and everybody got sales and everybody's got marketing and everybody's got employees, all these systems work. And that's a huge difference. As a matter of fact, I'll back up with a story.
Sure.
When I exited my last company, I was thinking, what's my next pivot? I'm 56 years old. I'm definitely not ready to retire. Want to do something else. I'm a volleyball coach also. And so I thought, should I coach volleyball? Should I coach businesses? Anyway, so I kind of tossed that idea, decided to be a business coach. And now I started looking at the different options that are out there. And while I was growing my companies, I was an Action Coach client. While I was here, my business broke some records and growth rate was amazing and all that. And I'm like, This system worked for me. I know the thing works. I tested it live, as they say, and why not? This just seems like the right choice. So it's a little bit of a. I didn't give you a lot of details in this answer, but it's because there's so many pieces to the puzzle.
Hmm.
The one piece that's really kind of critical is something we just introduced is a software system called ABOS,
Mm.
which is similar to the traction system. Got some differences. I'm not necessarily saying which one is better because it would depend on how you're implementing, honestly. It is a more involved system than the traction system. But I implemented traction on paper, not in the software, so I'm not sure how the software works.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the software that we have is really good at holding all your documents, getting the rocks for everybody, assigning them, having weekly KPIs. Like I'm sure you guys have a dashboard, so we create a dashboard.
Scorecards. Yep.
All,
Yep.
all,
Hmm.
all that stuff is really, really powerful. It's a real separator.
Yep.
Another thing that we do regularly is we meet with all our clients once a month for what we call member day. So all the clients meet each other. We're creating a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, and you know, a friend of mine. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, but a friend of mine asked me the other day. He's like, "Well, how do you know you can help some of these guys? I mean, they're smart guys." I'm like, 100%, and I'm not smarter than all of them. There's no doubt. Some of these guys are a lot smarter than me, but I don't have to be smarter than them. We together have to be smarter than them.
Yeah.
I just have to bring out their genius. It doesn't have to be my genius. And that's what these systems do.
Yeah, I love that. And sometimes it's not some big epiphany moment, right? It's just the alignment of several systems processes cohesively built together, right?
100%.
That's
Yeah.
like bam, it's like bang. And it's not that some genius figured it out. It's just
Yeah.
somebody on the outside looking at how to put those things together so that you have a massive impact.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Love that. What would you say gives kind of people the least amount of leverage and they spend too much time on, the people that you coach?
Huh, that's interesting. We see different things. A lot of times they get caught in something that they either like to do or they're
Hmm.
okay at doing. It's not a huge pain point. It's just something that they do and that they keep doing it. And you look at, I got a client, $10 million business, a good sized business. The guy's the CEO, and he tells me, I'm working on payroll right now. I'm like, why are you working on payroll? It's like, well, when I do this, I can see. I'm like, you can run a report. Why are you working on payroll? And and he's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, when do we download this to your bookkeeper? Because that should have already been done 10 years ago. But and so it's like, but he's good at it. He knows how to do it. He doesn't, when he does this, he doesn't have to think about something too difficult. It's a lot of times is those comfort plays is what we see. So it's not necessarily one thing, but it's usually these kind of not mind numbing, but simple things that they know
Yeah.
they can do. They're okay at it. They're never going to break record because nobody breaks record doing payroll, right? And but yeah, and so those are the kind of things we see, the group of people.
Yeah, I like that example too, because I think that's so true. All of us do it, right? Something that we just feel like either one, nobody can do it better than us, right? Which is
Yeah,
it's just a false mindset, right? And
100%.
two, a little bit of what you're saying too is it's just like we actually might enjoy doing that, right? It's like I'm comfortable doing that. If I have to make big decisions all day, maybe sometimes I just want to do mind-numbing payroll, right? And it's like,
That's right.
but you're taking your hourly wage and dropping it down quite a bit. You should be working at that level of a CEO wage.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
100%. What's a lesson that you yourself have learned the hard way?
Oh man. So I've learned tons of lessons, especially as I was growing my companies. But I think the biggest lesson I've learned, I was, I don't, it's many years ago.
Yeah.
I, I was, we were kind of, I used to own a part of a company with used computer equipment. We were scaling relatively fast. We had customers all over the world. And we were a crew of four guys that started a company, or they were actually started before the four of us. But anyways, the four of us were building the company. We had about 30 employees at the time. And I it just felt like we're stagnating a little bit. Not so much in top line, but the way the operations was working, I just didn't see our next kind of jump. And I was listening to a book or reading some. I can't remember where I heard it, but it said something like this: after you finish school, if you don't read, there is no new information that you gain, and so you just stay at one plateau, one
Yeah.
level. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. And I'm like, you know what? I've always been a reader. In the last few years, at the time, I stopped reading because I was busy working and growing. And I'm like, I just got to pick up a book, and I got to make it something that I do all the time. And I did. And I haven't stopped. I usually read 2 or 3 books at a time. And I'm always reading. I sometimes reread books that I read in the past because the material was so good, but I'm always re-educating myself or educating or re-educating, because we have to constantly grow ourselves. If you don't grow yourself, your business will suffer at the end of the day. And you're going to suffer. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm only going to read books. Say I'm a salesperson. I'm going to read books about sales. I'm a business person. I'm going to read books about this and that, everything business related. But I think you need to read about history too. You need to read about some great thinkers of history. Like, it may not be directly impacting something that you're doing today, but having that background knowledge will make you a better leader, will make you a better business person, will make you more well-rounded. You can relate to more people. Those are the things I think.
Yeah, because that's what I find, right? The most interesting people in the room have some kind of little bit of like factual data right across almost any topic, right? And
Yes.
it's not like, hey, the most interesting person in the room might be the business owner in the business that you're in, but also the person that's interesting is somebody who's like, did you know that James Franklin did X, Y, Z? You know what I mean? It's just like they can tie different concepts together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely cool. I love that. What trend are you paying attention to right now?
I mean, I feel like the biggest trend going is pretty evident to everybody, and what artificial
Yeah.
intelligence is doing. It's moving lightning speed. You and I, the conference we were in was all about artificial intelligence. I'm a heavy user. I what I love about it is I've always been into tech. But I'm not a programmer, and so a lot of times I'll build a logic and I'll have a programmer build the actual solution. I can build it,
Yeah.
and I can tweak it as I go. And I mean, it always helps to know how to code yourself, and I know just very little. But what I can do with Claude, and I'm a Claude user first, and then ChatGPT. But what I could do now is, I build databases and systems and dashboards that are just, 6 months ago were unbelievable, and yeah,
it's so crazy that I can take like Lovable and I can be like, I love David's website. That's amazing. It's got a lot of cool stuff on it. And I go just point it to it. And then it just kind of takes all your guts and all of your brains and kind of like transforms it right into my own version of it. But point being
sure.
is like, it's crazy how you can take the best practices of a lot of different things or
Yeah,
competitors or even colleagues or whatever.
yeah,
And just kind of with the stroke of a few like prompts, you're like, boom, now I have the best of everything, right?
yeah,
Very
100%.
cool.
Yeah.
What's one piece of leverage advice you'd give someone trying to get to the next level?
It really would depend specifically on their
Yeah.
situation, but there is no doubt that there are things you're doing that you need to have somebody else do. It's either an automation or it's a team member. It
Yeah.
is always, almost always the case. And there is a hesitation, especially in solopreneurs. And I don't really coach. I don't think I coach any solopreneurs,
Yeah.
but especially with solopreneurs, that they have this. It's either the fear of letting go or the feeling that nobody could do it as good as me, or And I had that too. I mean, I'm not that
Hmm.
I had all these feelings actually at some point. Um, but it's almost always that you got to let go of some things. The second piece of advice that I would give that's related is take time to plan, take time to think.
Yeah.
A lot of times, this propensity for action is like, okay, I need more money. Let me call five more people and sell something new. Well, sometimes looking back and saying, why do I need more money? Or what, you were mentioning in the beginning, they sell more, but it leaks out of the back end.
Yep.
You know, let's stop and look at where are we wasting money. Maybe there is a better way to take current revenue and have it stream down to your bottom
Yeah.
line. And so all these kind of things, just take the time to look at those, look at your business. If you need to talk to a coach, talk to a coach. If you can do a lot of it yourself, and you'll see growth at your bottom line, which would make you healthier as you're growing again, going back to grow your top line. So
Yep. That's so important. I love both of those points because they're just spot on. All right, I want to move you into the lightning round. These are intended to be super quick questions, super quick
sure.
answers. Favorite business book?
The Goal by Eliyahu Goldratt. It's an
All
old
right.
book, but man, it's the
Love it.
concepts are
I
really
love doing this because I hear about it goes back to your reading thing. It's like I get so
yeah,
many guests because they all have so many different answers to this
yeah.
question. I'm like, I haven't had that one. I don't know how many decades it's going to take me to read these, but uh, best purchase under $100.
Oh, I don't buy a lot of things. I wouldn't even know where to begin. My significant other would know better than me.
I'll help you out. Claude.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have two different versions of plot. I run two different accounts.
Right. What's your most impactful habit? It may be reading, but I'm curious.
I work out every morning, 5 a.m. I'm up, 5:15. I'm in the gym.
Love it. Love it. If you could track one KPI, what would that be?
Top line revenue.
Top line rev. Love it. What is one thing that you personally would never delegate?
Hmm. Depends on the business, but your core function, your genius. Every
Yeah.
person has got their unique ability or their genius that should never be delegated. That's why you
Ah, love that. Love that. All right. Last question I got for you is if David wrote a dictionary of definitions, what would he say the leverage, how would he define leverage in his terms?
leverage. Um, your ability to do one test that compounds the results over time, as
Love.
as clear as that or
Yeah,
unclear as
so
that
simple. I
is.
love that. And I like
Yeah.
simplifying things like long definitions, long explanations don't help it. I know businesses succeed based on simplification. So I love that
100%.
thought process.
Yeah.
With that, Dave, thanks so much for joining our show today. I know our guests will find value out of this. They always do. If anybody resonates with on this call, how would they reach out and connect with you?
The best way is either to call me or to send an email, David Sasson at actioncoach.com.
Perfect. And as everybody knows, you can always connect and reach out with me. That is one of my main objectives is to connect and find a large network of people that you will always have somebody I can refer you to. And so, David, thanks so much for the opportunity. I get to meet you twice. It's been amazing. I got to meet Mark the other day on a podcast. So I got to
Oh,
meet him
awesome.
twice
Good.
from there. So really having a good time getting out there, getting to know people, see people, and more importantly, really solid business owners that we can help build a little network and community and help everybody out. So thank you so much, David. And we'll see you on the next venture.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.